Welcome to Unit 4, Level 1. We will be calculating the average of a list of numbers, calculating the average given a number of data values and the sum of data values, and calculate the missing data value given the average and all data values but one. Let's first recall what average or mean is. If I have a set of data, such as these 6 numbers, then the mean is the sum of the data. So I'm going to add all those up, and I'm going to divide by the number of data points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 6 data points. So the sum is 30 divided by 6 is 5. So 5 is the average of those. So that's saying that if they all were 5, that would give me my total of 30 that I have. And when I'm dividing by 6, I get that 5 again. So that top is really saying, hey, if I've got these 6 data points and they all were 5, 5 times 6 is 30, which is that total. Our first example is the total height of 6 waterfalls in the state of Wisconsin is 492 feet. What is the average height of these waterfalls? So I know I have 6 waterfalls, and I know that their total is 492 feet. That's not each, that's their total. So the sum of these 6 waterfalls is 492. So I don't have to add it up, it already is done for us, 492 feet. Now the number of data points, there are 6 waterfalls, so I'm going to divide by 6. When I divide, I get 82 feet. So it doesn't mean each waterfall was 82 feet, but if I add them up, it's got the idea that it's 82 times 6. So it averages to be about 82. Now I could have a lot higher and a lot lower. We could have outliers of that information, but this is the average. Let's go bowling. If your average in bowling is 115, what is the sum of 5 games if you earn your average? So we're going to bowl 5 games, and we know that that average is 115. So some are above, some are below, some may be 115 itself, but I know that the average is equal to 115. We need to figure out the sum. What is the sum? So that's our unknown, divided by the number of data points while we bowled 5 games. So to undo multiplication now, to undo division, I'm going to multiply. To undo dividing by 5, I'm going to multiply by 5. And whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So my total sum of, I'm going to undo dividing by 5 by multiplying by 5 to each side. And the sum of my 5 games has to be 575. So whether it's above 115 or below 115 or equal to 115, I know that on top they have a sum of 115, whatever they were at first. So 115 divided by 5 is really 115. So what we're finding is this total, and the total is your average times the number of data. In our case, it was 115 times 5. Now we're going to use average to find a missing data point. Here Lois wants to average 88% on 4 tests to assure herself a B+. If she scores a 74%, 90%, and 98% on her first 3 tests, what does she need to earn on her last test to meet her goal? A very common mistake that kids do is they add up these 3 scores and divide by 3. But here we know our average is 88%, so we have to substitute that in here. We know that she took 4 tests, so the number of data points is actually 4. And I know that I have 74, 90, and 98% so far. We need to figure out that 4th test, so I'm going to call it X. So to solve for X, we can find the sum. And 74 plus 90 plus 98 is 262 plus X divided by 4 is equal to 88. Now to get to X in the numerator, we need to undo dividing by 4 by multiplying by 4 to each side. And 88 times 4 is 352. So now I'm left with 262 test is equal to 352. Now we're going to undo adding the total. So now we could have done this by just thinking about it and understanding average, and that if 88 is our average, that means that our total on top was really 4 data points with a total of 88. You could have done this a different way without the algebra if you understand what average is. So if my average is 88, that's really 88 times 4, because you're saying that all of these 4 data points have an average of 88. So whether it's above or below, it's really 88 times 4 for that total. And that total again was 352. And then we need to subtract what we have so far, which was that 262. And we are left with 90. So if this way works for you, go ahead and do that as long as you understand the underlying pieces, and we'll practice that in class. Good luck on your homework.